Let's talk a little bit about the Canadian trucker convoy. This is, I don't want to say rare, but it's not super common that something that really starts in Canada and remains in Canada for so long becomes such a major U.S. story. The U.S. is very US centric, as many of you, I'm sure, know. But part of the reason why the Canadian trucker convoy has become such a big story in the United States is that it's become sort of a pet issue for right-wing media. Right-wing media has been supporting and inciting the trucker convoy, making them out to be heroes. If you look on Twitter, there's all sorts of folks, including former leftists and right-wingers and so on and so forth, saying this is just, it's incredible freedom. These people are just doing an incredible thing, never mentioning the radical right-wing, nationalist and xenophobic roots and organizers involved in the Canadian trucker convoy, not mentioning that many of the mandates that they are supposedly protesting against are being slowly dropped anyway as sort of logical based on what's going on with COVID numbers. They're not doing any of that stuff. But this week, something very interesting happened, which is that on the Fox News program, The Five, Geraldo Rivera, who I'm not like a fan of Geraldo. He was a Trump guy. He said a lot of things that don't make any sense. But every once in a while, Geraldo will, it's a broken clock that's right, every once in a while, he will call out Fox when they are peddling disinformation or inciting or spreading propaganda or whatever. And Geraldo had the audacity, I guess we would say, to tell the people on The Five, you guys have been inciting these protests. You guys have been inciting. They don't have that much support in Canada. Let's take a look at it. And the panel, very, very triggered by Geraldo.
It's killing it.
Well, as it relates to that, Trudeau, I understand that in order to use this National Public Emergency Act, Parliament has to put his imprimatur on it.
Eventually.
So, within 2 weeks, Parliament has to vote on it. My understanding is he's not that popular in Canada. How is he going to bring this to an end?
You know what is not that popular in Canada, Judge, is this freedom convoy.
Right.
What about the freedom of the homeowners to live in peace? What about the freedom of the shopkeepers to do business? What about the freedom of the...
But Geraldo, when it's Black Lives Matter or the nebulous Antifa protesting, that's when you care about traffic, people getting to work, businesses, etc. When it's the trucker convoy, you're not supposed to care about it.
Auto workers to get parts so they can put their cars
Did you say this when
together.
they were burning down the federal courthouse in Seattle for 2 months?
I did more than that. I condemned it.
And the funny thing is, that line plays well. Whoa, Judge Jeanine really got him on his hypocrisy. No, Geraldo has been clear, no matter who's protesting. He doesn't want destruction of property, fires, blocking traffic, whatever.
I condemn anybody who feels so...
He did.
But what violence are they creating?
So empowered that they can take away your rights to establish their rights.
What rights are they taking away?
They're taking away the right of the homeowner to sleep in peace, the right of the shopkeeper to do business,
Where are you
the right
seeing
of the
this?
auto workers
Where
to
are
get
you
parts.
seeing these
to do
rights
their-
being taken away? They're not
What do you-
parked in
what do
front
you
of
think
people's
those-
houses.
They are
They're not parked in
absolutely-
front of people's
they are
houses,
absolutely
honking at
parked
the
in-
middle of the night.
They-
They're actually being welcomed.
You are. It is conservative media.
You have one person
It
you're
is
talking to in
conservative-
Canada.
It is conservative media that has gone from support to incitement.
Incitement.
These people are violating the rights of others in Canada.
Are you saying we're inciting it?
The polls that I see, the Hub, Ledger, Ipsos, these polls all show between 65 and 69% of Canadians oppose these truckers.
True.
Because this has gone on long enough.
Oh, that's amazing.
Just show the
They have a
evidence.
very
That's what we
short-
ask.
Yeah, they have a very short
Open your
tolerance.
eyes and look.
No, I actually read and do research.
Yeah, well, the research seems to have confused Greg Gutfeld very, very significantly. But Geraldo is absolutely right. And then they start fighting about who is actually more working class in this entire thing.
Not the
If they
only
were
thing.
to stop all
issue.
vaccine
Justin
business now-
Trudeau used these workers for a year,
Yes.
2 years, excuse me, and made them go to work every day, called them essential, basically didn't provide them with what they needed, and then in one stroke of a pen.
Now, how funny is that? Because that's what we did in the United States too under Trump. Make them go to work, don't give them the things they need, except by it's like pulling teeth. But they were defending Trump's handling of COVID.
One day he said, actually, you're no longer essential workers.
Yeah.
Now you're non-essential.
You know,
It's very rude.
But
a hypocrite.
I have to respond to this thing because
Quickly.
Geraldo says blanketed right-wing media is inciting, and it's essentially he's also implicating us because we are defending the
How
truckers.
dare you?
That's exactly right. And Geraldo is correct to do so.
I'm okay with that because the fact is we've always been on the right side. We are not like
The right side, but not the right
We're
side.
not. We're not like
And Geraldo pointing out, you're on the political right, but not on the correct side.
you, Geraldo, which has a disdain for the working class.
Oh,
we are not.
please.
No, listen.
I
to
am
here.
the working
Yeah,
class.
in that Bentley, right? Go drive into your.
That's after
mansion.
50 years of hard work
and you're
more
not.
charity than you'll ever do in your entire life.
No, my point is you don't
Coming up.
like these guys.
Coming up first,
Geraldo has a lot of flaws. He really does. But the idea that the reason Geraldo thinks the Canadian trucker convoy is nuts is because how old is Geraldo at this point? He's got to be close to 80. Yeah, 78. The idea that now 78-year-old Geraldo, who has, accumulated assets during the course of his life, the reason that he's opposed to the Canadian trucker convoy and the inciting of the trucker convoy by Fox News is because he drives a Bentley, if that's true, or because he now has assets. There is no evidence of that whatsoever. And it's just so funny to hear these very people who, when it's convenient, they support the rich guy from Queens, and they don't talk about how Trump's totally disconnected from the average working class American. When it's convenient, they ignore that. But then when it's convenient, they'll say, well, Geraldo drives a Bentley. And Geraldo really struck a chord here. He's absolutely right that these folks have been inciting. And at the end of the day, the Canadian trucker convoy is a reactionary movement. It's a reactionary movement. They want to go to the status quo merely for the previous status quo, merely because that's what it was. They don't want vaccine requirements. They don't want anything. And of course, these things are going to fall off as we're already seeing them fall off. But with the police, by the way, I should even mention that there's a video, which I'll play here without audio, of Canadian police shaking hands and hugging the trucker convoy people. When you have the support of the police as well as of capital in your movement, you have to consider that it's a reactionary movement. And it's not always the case, and I want to be careful about making blanket statements, but the idea that this is some kind of working class uprising representing the predominant opinion in Canada. There is not a single poll that suggests that that's what it is. And some of the main inciters of this entire thing have been American right-wing media. One of our longtime sponsors is Vincero Collective. I love Vincero's watches. You've heard me talk about them before. They now offer sunglasses and a bunch of other premium accessories for men and women. Vincero is committed to creating exceptionally crafted watches and accessories and doing so ethically. Fair pricing, carbon neutrality. Vincero puts their principles first, which is important to me. I just picked up the Rogue from Vincero in gunmetal and red. I love the intricate design on the watch face and the multiple subdials. The durable black silicone strap looks great with just about anything I'm wearing. In all of Vincero's products, whether it's the watches, the glasses, men's or women's, you can just see and feel the quality. So if you want to elevate your look or you want to find the perfect Valentine's Day gift for that special someone, pick something up at Vincero. Vincero Collective is giving my audience 15% off all products and free shipping. Go to vincerocollective.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman. The link is down below.